All right, so I'm going to break down an entry that I took recently. No, I've already made a video on this already on Telegram, but we're going to break this down one more time. So essentially, I want you guys to get in the habit of trusting the higher time frame. I think that's our biggest thing here is trusting the higher time frame. A lot of you guys are scared, and I understand a lot of people are scared of trusting the higher time frame. They've been hurt so many times in trading, so they don't know if they can really trust these candles to do what they have to do. But it's all a patience thing. It's all like it's going to build your patience. A lot of people ask me all the time, like, how do we build patience? How do you can hold so long, or how do you wait for the perfect trade or wait for the right trade? But it's not essentially waiting for the perfect trade or right trade. It's more of just trusting the higher time frame to do what it has to do, even if times may look messy on the charts. You just have to trust the basics of trading. So uptrends are pretty much easy, right? You have the higher highs, higher lows. For the new people, a higher high is when price makes this. So I'm gonna say HH, higher high, right? You have a higher high, a higher low, and then we're gonna copy this and we're just gonna pull this here. We're just gonna pull this one here. Boom. Cool. So we have a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, higher high, right? So I want you to understand something. When it comes to the higher time frame, when it comes to pretty much any time frame, right? Price is going to respect this structure. This is basic price action that I'm showing you. This is not ICC. This is just basic price action, right? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. This is an uptrend. So when it comes to this uptrend, price is going to respect this. I want you guys to literally put this in your brain. Respect the structure. Structure is always respected, right? Please, this is the biggest part because this is why you're scared of trusting the higher time frame because you don't think structure is respected. Structure has street cred. Let's just say it like that. Like if structure came into the game, it will be like, oh, that's the OG, right? This is the OG structure. At the end of the day, structure is always going to be the OG of anything that happens in the market. Even if news happens, if something happens with Trump or whatever the case might be, structure is always going to be respected regardless, whether it's keeping maintaining because there's times where price will sell off crazy, but after that, structure is created and structure respects that. So structure will respect no matter what happens in the market, right? Back to anything. Um, Respect the structure. Always. Also with lower lows and lower highs. So nothing's different. Everything that I'm saying is the exact same thing for buys and sells. Same thing for buys and sells, right? So with all this being said, higher time frame, if you get respect on the lower time frame with these, it's not going to respect it as much as the higher time frames. Lower time frames, these higher highs and higher lows are going to go faster, right? The more you let price marinate and take its time, the stronger the structure becomes, the stronger the trend becomes. So that way, when you see all this happening at 9:30, when New York session opens and price is shooting up or price is shooting down and it looks like it's crazy, price has been marinating on the higher time frame. And on a higher time frame, these days don't even look pretty crazy. The other day when price was buying on gold, people were probably like, "Oh my God, it's buying so much." But on a higher time frame, it doesn't. It's just a calm day. It's a normal day. So I want you guys to also go into a mindset of like that, like nothing's crazy to you in the markets. Everything you already knew was going to happen. Everything you already knew how price was going to react. So when price is buying and everybody's freaking out, or price is selling and everybody's freaking out, you're calm because the higher time frame, it doesn't look as crazy. It doesn't look as bad, right? The pullback today, people were texting me like, "Oh, bro, you need to close your trade or whatever." But look at this. Look, my entry's like here. I'm calm. I'm collective because look at this. This is price making its highest high, right? It sold off. When it sold off, it sold all the way down to here. When it sold down to here, it stopped. Boom, right? Don't overthink this. Once it stopped, as you can see, price pushed up a little bit, came here, right? Pushed down a little bit, stopped here. This is a support. Boom, we have a support. The support ends up pushing up. Boom. This is our indication. Price corrects back to the market, back to that initial breakout, right? This indication, this is your entry level. This is where you're looking for your entries. Even if you don't get it exactly here, anything above this level, when price corrects, you're looking for that to happen again. So then we scale down. We can scale down from here. I was on the 4 hour, but we can scale down from here. And from here, we can see, look at this. The levels that we marked are getting higher and higher. That level here, now we're here. This is a higher level of support than the previous one. This was our last support, and it pushed price all the way up, right? And then here we have price making another level of support. Look at the daily. This is why I don't like telling people one specific time frame because you need to go through all of these and look how price is moving on all this. The whole time on the 1 hour and 4 hour, you probably thought price was going to sell off, but it was just setting itself up for what? Look at this. Price sold off. What is this? Let's go ahead and connect the dots so you can understand. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. What do you think this is going to make? What did it make? A higher low. Price is always going to respect the structure that it makes. It's always going to respect structure. And this is the basics, bro. This is this is this is what you've been chasing as a trader for the past 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You've been learning ICT and smart money concepts and supply and demand and what people think I do is break and retest, right? I don't care. Price action is price action, right? I trade price action and market structure. That's all I'm showing you, right? But I showed you in a three-step process, the indication, the correction, the continuation of it, right? It's all the same thing. Nobody cares. As long as you're making some fucking money, that's all that matters, right? Look how I took that and I showed you the higher high, the higher low, the higher high, the higher low. Once price makes this higher low, it's now registering in its brain. If price can't go any lower, then it's going to look to go higher. We're going to write that down for you. If price isn't going any lower, it's going to look to go higher, right? Vice versa. If price isn't going any higher, then it's going to look to go lower. Vice versa, right? So with this being said, whenever you see a higher low in the market, price is looking to make that higher high. Now, this is what's going to probably help you. Just because it makes one doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make that higher high, because there will be some times where price will not go any higher. I meant go any lower and come up and show you, hey, we're coming higher, but then it ends up making a lower high. But the reason why that happens, you want to know the reason why that happens? Because there was no previous reaction. There was nothing previously showing you that above or below this level. So you'll probably run into a situation like this. Price will sell off, it'll come up, make a higher high, fail to make a low, come up, and then fail to go any higher, and then come back down, right? Right? It'll do something like that. And that's something that happens in the market, right? Because price made a new low, lower high, higher low, so price is in a no trade zone, and then you finally get this right here, boom, and then you finally get that break back down here. But that's cool, right? Want to know why that's cool? Because we're not going to trade this. This is not going to want us to trade anyways, right? Why? Because there's no previous reaction to show us price is going to buy up. Now, you might be confused right now, so let me explain. So here, you see how we have price made a low, came high, made a level of support, and we was looking for that buy, right? Or you would have probably thought, oh, this means that we can buy because we made a higher low. So I said if it makes a higher low, we should buy. Wrong. Look here. Look what the difference is. We sold off here. Once we sold off, we came to a level of support. Price said, hey, this is our level of support. There are people buying price at this level. They're buying gold at this level, and they're buying gold with millions of billions of dollars. So we cannot break past this level. So what does it do? It pushes up. In some cases, this would be considered your lower high, right? We can even change this to lower high, right? Just so it makes sense to you, right? And the reason why this is a lower high, because the last high we had was here, and this is our low, and this is our lower high. The reason why I don't mark this is because this was a small movement here where something happened where price stalled. This is, let's say, just a consolidation. Price stalled, but then eventually came down. The reason why I didn't mark this is because look at how price reacted here. Yes, there's something here. There's like a mix of buyers and sellers. But I'm looking for when somebody pushes price in one direction, that means that there's a strong amount of those, not an equal. I don't care about an equal amount. I care about a strong amount of buyers or sellers. So here, there was price went up, boom, 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 up, 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 boom, came here. As soon as it came here, a strong amount of sellers came in. Price had a little struggle where buyers tried to keep it up. Say like, no, 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 don't let it fall. Don't let it fall. But boom, sellers was just too strong. So yes, there was a little stall here because buyers are trying to hold on to it with their last, but they couldn't. So I'm not going to mark this because this is just where buyers were trying their best to not make it fall, but sellers came in too strong. But if we see here, buyers finally had that muscle power and push price up in a direction. So we can see that price here It's different from price here. This is just price stalling because buyers are trying to hold it up. But buyers finally ended up pushing the market back up. Even if it's small, that still matters. Because here, this lets us know that there's buyers sitting here. So as we can see here, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. As we can see here, let's get rid of these so it doesn't confuse you. As price starts to push down, we start to see that buyers kick into the market here. Green candle, buyers kick into the market. Matter of fact, today I'll change my candles for you. If you can't really see it, we're going to change it to a blue, like a teal color. Boom. Buyers kick into the market. Boom. From here to here, buyers are in the market and they're pushing strong. Soon as price gets here, notice the reaction that price has where it starts to sell back down hard. So everything buyers worked for, sellers just pushed them back down because sellers are strong here. Sellers are like, no, we're not going to let you keep going up. So then I want you to put it this way, right? There's a lot of buyers here. So we're going to put a lot of arrows here. We're going to put a lot of arrows. Let's say sellers came down with 2 arrows, right? Boom. Sellers came down with 2 arrows. So as sellers come down with 2 arrows, buyers kick back in. They're like, nope, we're going to push you out. So that's where this big blue candle comes from. Nope, we're going to push you out. So they get rid of these sellers, right? Or matter of fact, let's just say they came in with 3. The other ones came in with 4. These people came in with 3. Buyers have 4. So there's a lot of more buyers than there's sellers. So these guys are going to take out this seller. They're going to take out this seller. So these two are pushing strong, right? These two are pushing strong. Boom, boom. Or these 3 are pushing strong. These 3 sellers end up, or these 3 buyers push the market up and they're real strong. But as they already took out the other sellers that was here, this seller here is going to come with more force than these guys because they're already drained. They're already tired. They already had to take out 2 people. So they're already tired and that only leaves 1. And this guy isn't strong enough to hold on all this selling momentum or all this pressure. So the seller is essentially pushing this one out, pushing this one back. So this seller is way stronger because it came with a lot of force. So this one's essentially coming with 3 more guys, right? Which causes the market to push down. So once the market pushed down already, the buyers here were already prepared. So now they've already reloaded and they've gotten more people. Even though this was their first push up, they already knew like, all right, this time we got to come with more willpower. We got to come with more power this time. Boom. So they're coming in with like 5 guys this time, which then causes the market, these sellers here, to move out of the way. So these guys are now coming with force. There's a little bite here. There's a little reaction right here. So that's why you see price reject the first time. There's a little reaction here because there's sellers still trying to keep price from pushing above this level. This is where sellers are at. The reason we know sellers are here is because we see the reaction that price did when it came to 4,028. Whenever it came to 4,028, there was a selling reaction. So we know that there's sellers are there, right? We don't have to physically know that there's a seller right there. We just visually see that whenever price touches this price point, people are selling or sellers are coming in. People are closing their orders. So they're taking price from here to here and then closing their orders. But it's a large amount of orders being closed here. But then when price dropped back down, people are like, oh, we got to buy more. So then they buy more. But then it's way more than it was previously, which is why you see a higher low being made. So then they buy way more at this price. And then we have that breakout. This here is where sellers are at. So this is the seller's base. Buyers bust into their base, break the base, and they come with full power. So now these guys just stormed in the base, stormed in the crib, and they're taking everything, right? They're taking everything. So they're coming with maximum force because this whole time they've been fighting. They've been fighting, so it wasn't much volume, it wasn't much push. But the moment they get rid of the sellers, so the moment these sellers are gone, because in order to pass above this level, they got to take out all the sellers. So these guys already took out every seller they could. So boom, there's no more sellers here. There's nobody else to hold this, push them down, or try to fight with them. Because this whole time they was fighting, right? They're fighting for who's going to be in control. So now we have a moment. Let me make sure my computer doesn't die on you guys. Let's go. There's going to be a moment here where price is going to try to make that push. Buyers are here, all strong and mighty. And then it gets to a point where sellers are like, nah, again, you can't go any higher than this. We already let you do so much. So you cannot go any higher than this. So you know what price is going to do? Price is going to sell off, right? Hopefully this is not going to make me lag and stuff, but it might. Uh, we're gonna see. It might make me lag a little bit, but it's all good. Anyways, buyers come into this point and sellers are like, no, no, no. They come in super strong. So now these guys got like all the power they can, all the muscle they can, and they take out all the buyers that were here. All these buyers ended up retreating. They closed. They probably got killed in war, whatever the case might be. There's no more buyers here. This is as far as they're going to let buyers go. So they're pushing buyers back. Their buyers are retreating. Buyers are surrendering, and they're just letting sellers come in. But this whole time, since we had this higher low, this was the reinforcement back here. So if we had two here, the reinforcement was just moving up slowly, creeping behind the original buyers. It's all a game. It's all a strategic game, right? This whole time that price was pushing up here, they had two men in the back, building up, waiting. So when these guys got taken out, these guys was creeping up the whole time, trying to gain more territory because all this is territory. Price is just trying to find this territory. And as price is moving up, there's buyers creeping up too. That's why you get these higher lows because buyers are creeping up more and more. As these guys are going in full maximum, so the buyers when they was here and they're going full max, they're pushing. They got two other guys. They got three other guys waiting here, pushing up slowly, 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 right? So that way, just in case something happens and they take out, boom, let's say the buyers took out that guy. Let's say the buyers took out here, but these guys took out these two guys. Boom, boom. They're done. They're no longer in the war. These buyers are no longer in the war. Then we have these sellers and they're like, I bet we took out everybody. Now let's go back and take back what they stole. So then these guys are working their way down and then they run into a problem. Them buyers pushed up. They're like, yeah, we're taking back all that. We took this, this is ours. The sellers think they had it. The sellers thought they was getting everything back, but there was buyers building up, waiting for them. Boom, take these guys out. So now there's no more sellers in the market again. There's no more sellers in the market again. And another way we can tell by this is going from that daily time frame or 4 hour time frame, whatever higher time frame you're looking at, and looking at this, right? So price got to a point and then it started to sell. Boom, it started to sell and price got to this point. And once it got to this point, notice here, there was a sell-off. Boom, rejection here. Buyers were making their signs here. Boom, buyers made a sign here. But price came up to this point and shot price back down. So we know sellers are working their way here. So we're going to take this and we're going to move this here because we know sellers are right there, right? And we also know sellers are there because buyers were pushing up price on this time frame here. Boom. Sellers kicked in just a tad bit, stalled. Price was fighting. Buyers and sellers was fighting. Buyers took more control, pushed the market. And we're visually just looking at the markets and interpreting what we're seeing. We're just visually looking at the markets and what it's doing. I'm not doing anything else. I'm just visually looking at it, seeing that price came up to this point, and then it had some type of reaction. Why? Why did price do that? Oh, because there's a seller right here that must be pushing and playing with price. Because if price wanted to buy, it would just do this. If price really wanted to buy, it would just do this. But it ran into a seller first, so it had to get rid of the seller before it could do this. That's why when you see price move in one rapid direction so fast and so many candles, that's because there's nothing else stopping it. But the moment you start to see price giving you blue candles and red candles, this is letting you know price is fighting. It's fighting for its position. Here, price is fighting to come above this level. There's blue and red candles, blue and red candles. But the moment price is taken out, all the people that it was fighting with, it's going to free. It's free. It's going to do its thing now. That's why when I enter, I'll always enter above a swing high or a swing low because the swing high, these are swing highs. This is the highest point price has gotten at this area. The moment it breaks above here, it's looking to go to the next one because that's the only time it's going to fight. So whenever price is above that swing high, the next level it's going to go to is wherever it's going to fight at again. Notice here, when price sold, it kept selling. There was a little fight here, but the moment price broke below any of this, it was gone. It just did its thing until it stopped, right? So when price breaks above something that it was fighting with before, it's going to be free. It's going to do its thing. So back to what we were saying earlier, here, buyers were here. So see, sellers kicked in here. Price made an indication. This is what it's going to do. This is letting you know buyers are making a chance. They're trying to tell you, hey, bro, we're finna run down on these sellers. Like they ain't got enough willpower. They ain't got enough power. They're teasing. Buyers are teasing you, telling you, haha, we can beat these sellers. Here's a little a snippet. Like here's a clip of us being able showing you we got the power. So then buyers tease you. They tell you, hey, we can beat these guys. Watch this. They're like basically saying, watch this. When price gives you an indication, it's basically saying, watch this. Watch what happened. Watch what we finna do. Watch what we're going to do. Just give it time. Watch what we're going to do. That's what price is basically telling you. So with all this being said, remember back on that daily time frame too as well. Realign it, right? Price made a higher high. Price made a higher low. What do you think price is going to make? Price is telling you everything it wants to do. You just have to listen to it. Price is already showing you what it's going to do. You have to respect it. The structure is going to be respected. But once again, you have to trust the higher time frame. Just trust the process. That's basically what price is telling you to do when it broke on the 4 hour time frame. You thought price was going to sell off. Price ended up selling off. And then they gave you a little hint. They gave you a wink like, don't be scared, bro. We're not selling. Trust it. Watch it. Watch what we do. So then as you can see, price goes back in here and they're fighting, 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 fighting. But this whole time, this high is basically telling us, hey, the buyers are basically saying, yeah, bro, we can beat these guys. It's kind of like, I don't know, you're playing basketball with your friend and you know you're better than him. You shoot 1 3 in his face and you make it, right? But then you let him win for a little bit. You let him score like 15 points. And then y'all are playing around, whatever. You're giving a little bit of competition to him, but you know you can beat him. That's basically what Price is showing you. Price is telling you, hey, we know above this level, we know we can beat him when we're back above here. So then it lets Price play around. But this whole time, buyers already know what's up. They already know what's up. So they let price play around. They let the sellers play around a little bit. So buyers and sellers are playing around for a little bit. They letting the sellers get tired. Sellers are getting super tired. That's why you see exhaustion, right? You see these wicks. You see these wicks here. They're getting longer and longer. Price is trying to, but sellers are getting tired. Every time they get here, buyers pushing them back a little bit, they're getting tired, right? Sellers try to kick in, boom. Buyers are putting more defense on, right? And buyers ain't even using all their energy. Sellers are. Sellers are trying to use all their energy because they already used all their energy on that correction. Remember, buyers were fighting here. Buyers were fighting here, gaining all that stamina. They went on a good run. Boom. Put themselves in a lead. Sellers was like, nah, let's work. They had to work 10 times harder to stop these sellers. I mean, stop these buyers. Sellers had to work 10 times harder to stop these buyers. Boom. Once they stopped them, or once they felt like they stopped them, buyers are like, all right, y'all played too much, it's our turn. So they give them a little taste of their medicine, buyers. They're gonna shoot the three in their face, right? Boom. Look at the crowd, wink at the crowd, be like, yo, you see what we can do? They let sellers once again feel like sellers are gonna feel like they got their advantage, but they're just fighting with the buyers. Buyers are always gonna have those, as you can see, buyers are gonna always have those small snaps up because buyers are just playing around. But then once buyers are like, all right, it's fourth quarter, it's game time. Buyers are going to push and notice how it pushes. As soon as it goes back above this level, this is where your entry is supposed to be because you know it's game time above here. We've already seen price here is normally supposed to sell. When price is here, it's normally supposed to sell. But buyer said, hey, above here, we can make a new high. So when price is above here, we can make a new high. Think that in your head, right? So your entry is here because a lot of people want me to show the entry that you're supposed to have, right? Your entry is here, right? Your target is already answered. Remember, ICC is just me explaining it in three-step process so you can understand, right? So you can understand how to or answer those questions. Indication is showing you where your entry is supposed to be at. The reason we enter here is because we got another indication we can enter here, right? We got more confirmation. It's steady because we have that level of support to it here as well. Boom, right? So with this being said, our entry came because we had an indication here. We had a correction. This correction played around a little bit, but as soon as price came back above this level, we also had it in New York session. So as you can see here, New York session, once again, trading with the volume is always going to get you in the right position too as well. So since we have this, price is showing us, hey, boom, above this level, volume, higher time frame. We already made a new high above this level. We made buyers teased already. They already did their tease. Once it's above here, it's go time. It's game time. No, I don't wait for the price to close on the candle or whatever. When price is going back over here, it's game time. No waiting around. It's game time. Volume's kicking in. It's game time. Let's go. Right? So with all this being said, look at here. The reaction that we had when price came above this level. Boom. Full volume. Look at that. New York volume pushed it. Boom. Gone. Right? It's game time. Once that volume kicks in, once the bell rings, it's game time. Let's go. There's no time to wait. So no, I don't wait for candles to close when my entry's here or whatever the case might be. Now you're probably like, oh, but that's a 1 to 2 or whatever the case might be. You know what you can do about this? If you don't, because what I like to think is if I use this stop loss, I'm not even really worried about the risk because what happens? Remember, let's go back out. What is price going to do? Respect the structure. It's going to respect the structure. So normally I always tell people go for a 1 to 3, go for a 1 to 4. But realistically in my head, there's no risk for me. Like, yeah, I'll put a, like I don't want to lose, such and such. I'll put, I always think of risk of not like how much am I risking? I'll be like, all right, is this a good trade? Is a good probability? All right, if I lose, I'm willing to lose $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $50,000, whatever the case might be, right? Boom. Okay, if I lose, I'll lose that 50,000, right? But I know that if I'm catching the trend, I'll gain way more than what I'm losing because then think about now, right? Think about I hold this for the next couple of times and it gets all the way to all-time highs and I'm still holding. That's why I don't really think of the risk to reward because you never know how long this trend is going to go for. But you do know that you're putting yourself in the right predicament and you know price is going to respect the structure, so you know you're going to come out on top. That's why the win percentage I have is high because I just let price do its thing and I trust the higher time frame and I know that it's going to respect the structure. Even if price didn't move for a while, right? Even if price kept consolidating here and there, it was still respecting the fact that it has higher highs and higher lows, higher low, higher low. This higher low ended up pushing. You can even say this little bitty one is a higher low. Boom, higher low. Here we have a higher low here. Price ends up breaking that. That is cool. But remember, that's what that new indication came in for, right? That can help you. So once again, repeat. Let's say here, right? Price was bullish. But then let's say, boom, it broke here. And then you're probably thinking, oh, price is supposed to sell or whatever. Okay, let's say it like this, right? Let's say if you use this and you was like, okay, boom, we got an indication. Price corrects. And then you was looking to sell. Even this still kind of played out because it did touch into that area that you were looking for. But the reason why I would have never took this sell trade is because look at the daily time frame. The daily had broke above here. It broke above that level here. Boom, look, we have a high, higher level of support, higher low. Price ends up pushing. This sell to me, I would have never been looking at the fact that, it broke on the 4 hour time frame because this sell to me looks like price made an indication above this level. And the sell-off was just to correct back to that level, right? And I know it's easy to say once it happens, but these are the things that you need to think about when you're actually looking at the markets. You need to think in your head like, okay, maybe this isn't just a sell-off because if it was selling off, it would be breaking more lows, not breaking a high. Why would it break a high and then sell all the way off? That's the thing that you need to tell yourself. Why would it do this just to go back on everything it said? Why would price tell me that it's going to do this, but then do the complete opposite of everything it said? Right? So think about it like that. Respect the structure. Price is always going to respect the structure. The moment that it doesn't respect the structure, that is when you do not trade it or price is reversing. A lot of you guys are looking at, NASDAQ. You guys are trying to trade this, right? Let's come here. You guys are trying to trade something that's not respecting the structure. There's structure here. This is the highest point that we have in the market. Price ends up selling off. There looks like some price made some type of level here where it made a low respected it. So price came into here, rejected, pushed past here, but buyers kicked it up in the market. There's something here, right? Price ended up shooting under here, came back, retested this level again, shot under because anything under this level would be bearish, right? Because it's under this level, this low right here. Anything under a low is bearish. Anything above a low is bullish. Anything above a high is bullish. Anything below it, still bearish, right? This is a lower high. Price made a lower high, lower low. Now, if I'm not mistaken, price is correcting for this daily time frame. It's going to get to this point. We do not enter trades on NASDAQ because here we don't know who's in control of the markets because you have buyers here and you have sellers here. Price is equal in this area. Now, you might be asking, well, if price has buyers here and then sellers here, price is going to have the same thing here. There's going to be sellers here and then buyers here. But when price is coming back under that level again, you know that the sellers are taking it to here. Prices already did that here. We had price come down, sold, and then it bought. So the second time around could sell back to that level. Price makes a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? So that's what you should be looking for, right? But inside this box, price could just come to here, and that would just be a waste of time. Price could literally just come to here. It could buy up for a little bit, come to here, test this level, and then spring back up, right? But the moment price comes under that level, right, it's a different ball game. Now, I'm gonna tell you something that could also help you avoid a fake out, right? This could help you avoid a fake out. Let's say price comes up like it's doing now, comes down. What you can do is see if price is going to give you another lower high. Because the more lower highs you get in this scenario, the better your outcome is because then these can be your stop loss levels. These can be your levels that show you that price is getting weaker and weaker. If price comes under here, you still have lower highs here. Instead of using this high, you got this lower high or this lower high. But the chances, the more lower highs you get in this scenario, the better your chances are. But also, in this scenario, this is a new low for us, right? This is a brand new low. So the chances of price trying to take that new low out is very high in this scenario, right? So essentially, all you're doing now is waiting for price to build that bearish structure and come back under this level. Once it comes back under this level, you're just watching to make sure that bearish structure stays intact, right? You don't want to see any higher highs or higher lows. You just want to see price trend down, slowly trend down. It's going to trend down right here. You're going to start to see it. And then the moment it gets under here, you know it's go time because we have all this momentum here, right? It might even struggle here to break, but it doesn't break any highs, right? It might struggle here to break, doesn't break any highs. And then we finally get a sell. That volume is what's going to push price because we've done it before. We've done it before. We've done it before. We've done it before, right? Here, right? Look at this. This one's news. This one's definitely news right here, which I'm not going to make you seem like you're going to be the perfect trader, right? This one, we have a low, price came up. I'm pretty sure if we go to, let's say a 30-minute time frame, and we go here, look at the structure price built beforehand. Price was bearish, indication. Price came up, it was bullish. Boom, it was bullish for a bit. Price made a high, corrected, made a new high. And then here, right? Look at this. Price here, high, new high in the market. What does it do? Correct. This is the indication above here. So above this level, price made a new high. And we're just looking, all I'm doing is looking at a reaction. I'm looking, I see the reason why I say this is a reaction because it came to this level and then it stopped. They started to fight. Buyers and sellers are fighting in this area. And then finally, sellers kick in full force in one direction. Once price gets to this level, boom, what happens? Price gets to this level, buyers are like, we coming in with full power. Boom, full power. They break everything, right? So this is telling us above here, buyers have steam. This means that there's no more sellers here, right? Sellers weren't once here, but once price breaks above this level, there's no more sellers here. Boom. Price sells under this level. Sellers are trying to kick in here, right? Sellers are trying to kick in. Sellers are coming from all the way up here too as well. So boom, sellers are coming all the way here. They run into a problem with buyers. They get into a little fight. Sellers push again. Buyers are like, yep, we got all, after all that, we're going to take back some of that. Buyers kick in. They try to take in some of that. So here, buyers are fighting with the sellers. Sellers kick in with a little bit momentum. So they're probably having some of these guys from here come in and try to handle that, right? They try to come and handle that. Then more buyers kick in from down here, probably. Remember, those guys, remember, as this one buyer is coming up, they have another guy trying to sneak up. This is how you create those higher highs. This is how price create those higher highs. Because it has these buyers waiting for price to sell at any moment, and they got back up. Boom. Where you thought you was going? Boom. Now, with this being said, sellers like, oh shit, we didn't know they was going to have backup. So then buyers push up price. But then when price got pushed out the first time, so boom, buyers came in and sellers was like, oh shit, we didn't know buyers are going to be here. They retreat. They retreat back. But they, as they're retreating back, they're getting their other people like, yo, buyers are coming. They had like 5 guys, right? They have 5 guys. Let's go get them. So buyers think everything's sweet now. They keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then buyers get to a new point. Like, I bet we're making progress because we made a new high, right? And remember, this is all because sellers kicked in and they took over. Their sellers were winning the war. So all this is just buyers thinking that they're getting somewhere. They're getting all their land back, right? Right? So with all this being said, buyers think they're getting somewhere. Okay, bet we getting back, we getting it back in blood. Buyers think they're getting it back in blood. Whole time, sellers been waiting because they already had that manpower. We already seen that sellers have more manpower than buyers. Buyers just think that everything's all good. So this goes to say, like, whenever you see price on the higher time frame give you one direction, so if you see that price is bearish, you need to stick with that because that small buy, sellers got something coming for them the whole time, right? And this is how you should be thinking. When price made that new low, you should have been thinking all this buying is just sellers gave up beating their ass, beating the buyer's ass so bad. So they took a little break. So all buyers are doing is coming in thinking they hot, and then sellers got something for them. Boom, kick in. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because now we know when sellers are fully in control, because look at this. Price made this level, broke above here, made a high, higher low. higher high. Price breaks that higher low. This is showing us price is bearish. That's all we need. We don't need anything else. We can say that under this level too as well, price is going to be bearish. Remember, once again, even if we did use anything else, under here, we know that price is going to be bearish, right? We scale back out, scaling out. We're not sticking to one time frame. Look at this, scale back out. We see that under here, price is always going to sell to this level, right? Price is going to sell to this level because it did it once. It did it twice. So the moment it's back under here again, what is it going to do? It's going to do it again. Price runs into a bunch of buyers here, right? Buyers think they're hot shit. Boom. Buyers think they're hot shit. Boom. Comes back to that level. Rejects, right? The same level that price had sellers here before. Sellers probably now were camped out here. So now they're camped out here again at that same level, not letting price get any higher than this anymore. So then what does price do? Sell again under that same level. Once again, under the same level. Because they know sellers are in control below this level. Sellers have all the manpower until price gets to here. But this time, sellers pushed and they broke it. So now sellers got more territory. Buyers think they're hot shit. Sellers like, nah, we back. Boom, pushes it more. Right? Every time buyers thought they had a chance, every time people thought that price, this was the chance, this was the time to buy price now, you get fooled. But remember, the higher time frame, Ben showed you that you should have never been fooled. The higher time frame, Ben told you like, yo, test the one too. Test the one too. Test the one too. I was trying to say, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yup, yup. Test the one too. Test the one too. Testing, testing. Oh my God, please don't tell me that it didn't hear me the whole time. Okay, let's keep going. I'm kind of scared now. So, anyways, sellers here thought that everything was hot shit. So now I'm trying to make sure that this mic is working, bro. I'm kind of upset if it's not. Let me go ahead and take this out. I'm kind of upset if it's not working. Anyways, sellers kick in and they make a new low. Boom. Once price makes something new, that's basically price telling you, hey, we made something new. We just marked our territory. We don't care. We already won this part of the battle. So price is going to do whatever it wants to do at that point. Price is going to do whatever. Price has already won. It showed you like, oh, we just took over. Sellers took over all of this territory. Boom. This is all sellers territory, right? We're going to mark this as red. This is all sellers territory. So when buyers are kicking into the market, buyers are just playing inside of sellers territory. Sellers can come in at any moment in time and really wreck everything back down to here. Because this is the only time where buyers kicked in with max force and pushed price up, right? This is the last level. Buyers were trying to fight. They kept fighting, but sellers kept pushing them down, pushing them down, pushing them down, right? The only time buyers will have some control over the markets is if they break above where everything had taken place, right? Where everything had taken place. So as you can see here, buyers are building up, they doing their thing. All that selling momentum came from all this right here, right? So this whole time, buyers think they really got it. They think they got it going on, but sellers at any moment, they can sell back down. So that's where we're standing on NASDAQ, right? We go here, everything looks a little choppy, but it is what it is. But that's just my analysis of just seeing that and how you should treat new highs and new lows, right? This new low in the market is just basically saying like, hey, we taken over all this. This is all ours. When we get back under this level, it's back to game time. We're gonna let them play, do what their thing is. As long as they don't break above this level, we're good. We're gonna let them do their thing, right? So this just goes to show that all I'm doing for my entries is looking at reactions and looking at how price is portraying itself and showing like, hey, buyers are here or sellers are here. Just looking at the reactions, and I'm not afraid to just go with whatever. Remember, once price is above that level or below that level, it's go time, right? It's go time. Like here. Once price came above this level, it was go time. Right here. We're gonna put this here, right? There's a new high in the market. This is our higher high, right? The moment price comes back above this level, it's go time again. If price gets volume, it's go time. Because price is already played. It showed you like, haha, we've already made that higher high. It doesn't need to prove anything else, right? It doesn't need to prove anything else. Sellers are the ones that need to prove that they can sell. Sellers are the one in this scenario that need to prove that they can sell off, which is going to be a lot of lower highs and a lot of lower lows. It's going to have to show a lot. You know how like if you, I don't know, cheat on your girl or cheat on your man, right? And y'all just happen to still be together, right? You got to do a lot. to show that you can be trusted again. So in this scenario, you have to show a lot to show that like, oh, okay, like we know you're going to sell this time. Okay, we can trust it. We have to trust it, right? Trust it. Once again, we're going back to this because I want this to be the last entry video you watch. Trusting the higher time frame. Trust it, right? Trust it. What did I just say? You need to be able to trust it. If price starts to sell now, we not really going to trust it. There's not much evidence. There's not much facts or actions to show like we could trust these sales. So now, whenever you're taking a position, there needs to be multiple facts in the market to show you that you can trust it, right? And remember, everything is going to respect the structure. Price is always going to respect the structure, especially on the higher time frame. Trust the higher time frame. Price has already shown us, hey, haha, we made a new high. If I sell, it's most likely going to be because I'm making a higher low. The last higher low we had was down here. Price just made a new higher high. It could go for the higher low, come all the way back down to 4,134 and come back down to 4,100. This is the last level. I trust that it's going to, respect the structure. If it doesn't, that's a loss, right? But price made a higher high. So chances that price is going to make a higher low and go back up and make a higher high are very high, right? Because remember, the higher time frame is going to respect the structure. The moment that it breaks, then that just means price is on a downtrend. And we utilize that, right? Have my cat here, man. Say what's up. Say what's up, teaching about some higher highs, some higher lows. Bro, why your heart beating like that, man? Your heart beating kind of fast, bro. Trust the time frames, bro. Trust the time frames. Tell them trust the time frames. Look, tell them trust the time frames. So, with all this being said, I just want you guys to really understand that I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just looking at what the market is showing me visually showing me this reaction here. Like price came up, it came to a point and it stopped here and it started rejecting. That means there's some type of sellers here. Boom. And when I see that, I know that there's some type of sellers here. I don't get scared because price has already shown us. Price has already hit that three in his face. Like, boom, we can shoot. Trust, we can shoot. In this scenario, trust, we can buy. We can buy above this level. We're not scared. Sellers gonna have their fun. They can have their fun all the way back down to here, right? They can have that fun. But when it's game time, when price builds back up and price comes back above this level and it's game time, there's no wait. There's no mercy at that point. Price is going to give that full push, right? Remember here, price was selling off. Buyers were building up. Buyers was giving you hints. Hint. Gave you a hint here. Gave you a hint. We're making higher lows, right? They're not making any higher highs. And they might not making any lower highs, right? They're not making any lower highs. But price is showing you higher low, building up. Now we're ready. Boom. Push. Then they push. And whenever price is buying, it's always going to the previous highs. So it's always going to that previous level that it was before, right? And then after this, where's it going to go to next? This one, right? Even after all this, right? Even if you use this, price pushed above this level, gave you an indication, correct it. Let's say you waited all the way until then, back above this level, pushed up to here. That's a whole trade too, right? It doesn't matter how you take it. You just need to know that the reaction is there. Above this level, you know that price is going to have this type of reaction. So when price was back above here again, you knew some type of reaction of buys was coming in, right? So with all this being said, I hope this helps you guys a lot. I hope this is the last entry video you have to watch. I pretty much tried to answer as many questions as possible. Once again, your TP is answered. The indication, your indication is your entry point. Even if this isn't your entry point, this was your entry point, right? So in this scenario, this is a level where sellers were at. Boom. Price made an indication that it can break above this seller point. So this is your entry point. This is where your entries always come from. That's answered. You don't even have to ask me anymore. If anybody asks, where's your entry got to be? Bro, they're not watching the videos, bro. They're just not watching it. Your entry comes from here, right? Oh, where do I put my stop loss? All right, let's see where the correction, let's see where all that structure ended at. Boom, this is the lowest price went, right? Entry here, stop loss here, right? You can even scale down to like the 15-minute time frame, right? Come here. Let's go over here. This one I don't like using that much because the higher time frames have a stronger level. But let's say when price broke here, let's say when you got your entry, when it finally broke, you could have put your stop loss here, right? If you want more risk to reward, if you really like, if you're really that guy that just really don't enter the trade because, oh, the risk to reward is bad or whatever the case might be, cool. Or you could have put it here under the levels, right? Because price is building higher highs and higher lows, right? Price was building higher highs and higher lows. Boom, 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 boom. It's building, right? But the reason why I don't really like that, because there will be some days where price just kind of consolidates and it looks like this on the 15-minute time frame. It looks like kind of choppy. But all this, look at this. We don't even see that on the higher time frames, right? It just looks like price did a little choppiness. But to us, it just looks like price is still going up, right? So that's why I don't really like too much of the lower time frames. 1 hour time frames, the sweet spot, real sweet spot. Um, yeah, and we go from there, right? So hope this video helped. I don't know, bro. I'm gonna be so upset if this actually cut out because it's only speaking when. Okay, that's kind of weird, bro. Hopefully, bro, I'm not gonna lie. If this video is like a messed up, I'm gonna be upset, and it's just gonna be is what it is, man. See you guys.